I'm sure you've been in a situation where things haven't necessarily worked to plan. And because of that, you've been pissed off, distracted, or annoyed, and you can't really control how you're thinking. Well, today I want to explore that in a bit more detail. And you know me, I like to talk about psychological concepts and how things really work. And in this instance, there is this concept known as emotional agility. Okay, so emotional agility is effectively where I guess it's how we respond to things, okay, given the circumstances. So this is how it works. So let's say you feel angry, or you think you feel angry because let's say you got dumped by your girlfriend or your boyfriend, God forbid, okay, if you're in this situation. And with that in mind, you're so angry that you can't really think. But when you do sit down to reflect and calm down and everything else, you realize it's not anger that you feel. You feel embarrassment, actually. Or you may feel some form of disgrace, or you feel something else. But it wasn't anger. That's the key point. So you move from this idea of thinking you feel something to really defining what you feel. And so moving on from that, once you really clearly understand what it is that you're feeling, you say, right, I'm at this stage, I'm at this level. It comes down to this level of acceptance. Can I accept this is how I feel? Is there anything in my being that's trying to fight this feeling? Because if there is, then what psychology says is very hard for you to overcome that specific feeling. It's very hard for you to move on. So there has to be a level of acceptance, not just with how you feel, but more so the situation as well. Okay, and we know that to be true in life. That's how we mature as people. There is something known as the psychological model, which I've spoken about before. And it basically says that we go through for a state of subjectivity. So taking things for granted, doing what we need to do, and moving into a space of objectivity, looking outside in and understanding what that situation was from as an objective view as possible. So here we're at acceptance. Then we move into a space of, okay, I've accepted a situation. How do I now want to move based on my values? You know I bang on about values. So if you don't know I bang on about values, you need to check out this video on values. And we all know values are what help us make decisions, and values are the things that we deem important, usually based, well, it feels like they're based on experiences from the past, but they're more universal by nature. So that's how emotional agility works. And in this instance, if I liken it to the whole idea of the Chimp paradox, so if you haven't seen the Chimp paradox, I'll definitely check it out. Basically, they state our mind works like this. We have the human and the machine, okay? So the human is the rational thinking side of you, is the logical thinking side of you. It's the side of you that likes to question and observe and do all these different things. That's in your mind. And then you've got the machine. So the machine is broken up into two parts. You've got the chimp. So the chimp being the raw energy, the passion, how you feel. No, I don't want to do that. The inner child, all of those different things there. And so with the chimp, they receive information before the human. Okay, so they're going to react straight away. And usually as a child, our chimp is more dominant compared to a more silent or quiet human. And there's also the computer. So the computer is the processing power. The computer is the thing that provides evidence for the chimp and the human. The computer is the thing that advises both the chimp and the human. It carries your values, it carries your beliefs, it carries all these different things. And it receives information first. So this is how we develop habits and how we make decisions, or think we make decisions, when really they're habits. So why am I saying all this stuff? I'm saying this to say, if you can channel your inner human to work closely with your inner chimp, so that your human can not just tame the chimp, but work with the chimp, then you're in a better position. Then you're channeling energy in such a way where you're making mature and psychologically sound decisions. There's a lot of words flying about. In order for you to be effective as a human being, in order for you to have that positive well-being that you need as a person, especially going through a time like this. So this is all to say that you are more than your situation. You are more than your emotions. You have the ability not to control, but to better manage, based on acceptance, your situation, or should I say your emotions. So understand that there is a process to this. And if you know where you're at in terms of the process, then you're more psychologically sound, or should I say self-aware, to make those changes and choices. And this is where we come back into emotional intelligence. You can check out my videos on emotional intelligence to understand a bit more about what that means for you. It starts with self-awareness, and then we can move into spaces where we have self-management in order for us to be more effective as people. How am I harnessing my inner chimp? How am I communicating with my inner human? What am I feeding information to in terms of my computer? It's not necessarily that you're not doing enough. It's usually because you're not consistent. And you're not consistent because you're letting your emotions get the better of you. That's a reality. We bear a choice every single day, whether we agree with this or not. And with that choice, we can choose to be better. Anyway, hopefully this video has given you some insight, maybe a bit of inspiration, and hopefully some things to go away with in order for you to be a better human being. If you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.